You're watching Telecom TV from Mobile World Congress 2016 in Barcelona. I'm joined now by Mark Wilkinson, who is Practice Lead for Mobility and Workplace at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Mark, nice to meet you.
Morning.
We're going to be talking about delivering digital workflows. So the first thing I'd like to ask is, what exactly do we mean by digitization, and how does that impact CXOs?
So I think this is one of those buzzwords, particularly as you wander around Mobile World Congress. You're seeing digital business, digital transformation, digitization, with an S, without an S. Ultimately, we're talking about taking processes and ultimately the full business from a hybrid digital analog, paper and systems, often with rekeying, and streamlining it, right? So it becomes end-to-end digital flow. And as we start doing that, the reason that the CXO needs to become interested in this is we start seeing the opportunities. There's efficiencies just in the process itself. There's the reduction of errors and issues where, if you think about even as simple as your expense receipt getting lost in the post, all the way through to increased integration and automation. So actually now the processes become much quicker and able to be flexible. So it brings out an opportunity for the business to actually engage in new models, engage with their employees and their customers differently. And I think with consumerization, we have the opportunity of bringing everyone up on this journey. So I think it's actually a great way of improving engagement.
And what are the challenges towards driving this digital transformation?
Well, in some ways, because it is so broad, the problem is you're standing in your 6 inches of water, trying to work out where are you going, and yet all you can think about is your feet are wet and cold. So it's very daunting to sort of start here, and yet be looking over there with that's where you want to go. So one of the challenges is you're too bogged down in today. The second then is, okay, you now have a murky idea of where you want to go, but the path is not a straight line, right? And in some ways, think of Christopher Columbus, standing on the coast of Portugal and saying, we're going to go west. Well, that's great, but no one expected the months of travel in between. And I think as we look at digital transformation, and the challenge is if you make it too big, it's a little like standing there and saying, we're going that way, which is great, but it's an undefined journey and model. And then lastly, I think the third challenge is we are used to technology at home. We're used to fiber at home in some cities nowadays. So and changing devices every year, and a sort of a nowness. Consumerization of IT and businesses, it's happening, but if we bring too much in, that you can use anything, anywhere to do anything, we actually lose control. And I think that sometimes we almost let the consumer side of ourselves, because we're all consumers, get ahead of us, and we actually end up potentially tripping over.
So how exactly is Hewlett-Packard Enterprise helping with this transition?
So we actually approach it in a couple of ways. So we've been skilled in transformations from IT systems for many decades, and it's something that we've got methods that we actually apply in a very standard model. But because this is actually about digitization and moving to a much more modern way, a better way of working, we've introduced a much more visual and interactive engagement, right? Trying to address that nowness that this generation wants. And so we will engage in a sort of very interactive but guided approach to help people shape where they want to go. It's not us saying you should go over here, but it's bringing the right sort of procedures and structures that enables them to go, actually, that's where we want to go and why. Then we can start bringing in the tangible, right? I want to be able to show you something so that you can point at it or take it home, or maybe not home, but to your colleagues, and you start getting that interaction and that engagement. So management of change has started already, and so you get the adoption. And as soon as you start getting the adoption, people get excited and interested, and it just snowballs. So we've found that our processes of best practice that we've got, plus this sort of more agile and interactive model, comes together nicely, but ultimately brings the enthusiasm that the clients want.
So have you got examples of how HPE is actually achieving this with customers?
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, as you think about some of the examples, they become very boring. But the benefit to the business isn't really about excitement. Excitement is the change you want to drive. So one of the really simple ones, we're all here in Barcelona. There are very few people who will be not collecting receipts, sticking them in a pocket or a bag, hoping they've caught everything. They get back to the home or the office, and they start sticking them to a piece of paper and putting them in an envelope and hope that they get reconciled. So think about, as you take that simple process of expense management and digitize it, and now taking a picture of the receipt when you actually get the receipt, and you've got your calendar entry and the contextual location. So I know where you are, I know from your calendar who you're with, and I've got a photo of the receipt, and therefore everything is digital, and it's delivered in a second. So my experience as the user is great. It's simple, I don't have to remember, I don't have to post it, I don't have to sellotape it. And the finance department don't get an inch of paper that they then need to try and feed into a scanner. They get a record at a time that can be tagged with the trip and reconciled instantly within the organization or across any organization. So that's something that we found, and we even ran that internally. You can save as much as $20 million a year just on the process piece. The fact that I've benefited from the employee feeling better about it is kind of the win-win. Another example, we did some work with a manufacturing company, and they were still doing manual paper-based stock take every Saturday. Employees loved it because they got overtime every Saturday, but we were getting errors in simple arithmetic. We were getting errors in the fact that stock moved, and so it was counted in the morning and then in the afternoon, and of course the stock had to be on the balance sheet. So there was a business impact of the stock being inaccurate. By using a tablet, we can integrate and automate straight into the inventory management system. We take the maths out of the equation because you're literally just scanning, like in a supermarket, and it's reconciled instantly. So that was again a boring process, but the art of digitizing it, right, and the transformation delivered business value, and the employees still get their overtime, but actually only an hour or two, not the entire day or weekend.
Absolutely fascinating. Mark, thank you very much indeed.
Oh, thank you.